Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to share something with you that one of the fellow collectors named Tom Downey showed me. Actually, he suggested to me. Now, I purchased this Franklin Mint 1955 Cadillac. This is a 24 scale diecast. It's missing the antenna, but I took care of that by cutting and gluing on this, but it fell off, so I'll have to re-glue it. Wasn't that big a deal to me. However, what was a big deal to me was that this car had a lot of paint rash, as a lot of the Franklin Mint vehicles did. I don't know why. For very expensive model cars, these should not have those issues. I know it's very, very hard to see. Okay, here. You kind of can see it here on the hood. Let me see if I can get that in focus. Okay, see how the light is shining on the hood? And you can see all that kind of looks like bumps. Okay, so that is paint rash. And it's on the hood. And it's basically on different areas of this car. I know you can't see it, but it's here on the fender as well. Maybe you can kind of see it. Okay, yeah, you can kind of see it there when I move the phone. You can see the little rough spots, the bumps. Well, let me tell you something, guys. Tom did me a huge favor. I did a post the other day asking whether you can remove paint rash from Danbury and Franklin Mint models. He said he's done it from his. And so what I did was, the roof was full of paint rash. It had basically, you could still see a little bit here. I didn't really do the edge that much, but you can see this here. Well, it was on the roof. I mean, the roof was a mess. It was just really disappointing. So the seller actually refunded me quite a bit of money because of that. They didn't see the paint rash. Well, this is probably about $150 to $200 and up car. I got it for about $51 after the partial refund. And it's a limited edition. As you can see here in the trunk, it's a limited production number. So I'm not trying to brag about that, folks, trust me. What I am trying to say is that for quite an expensive model car, these should not have paint rash in them. What I just did was, Tom told me he starts with 2000 grit and he polishes it up and goes up from there. What I decided to do, since I don't think I've ever sanded on a Danbury or Franklin Mint model car before, I was kind of scared to do it. But trust me, this roof was a disaster. It was a disaster, and it looked terrible, terrible. And now look at that, and I haven't even polished it yet. I haven't waxed it. So I decided to go with my polishing kit, and I started with 6000 grit, put it in some water, and then I just polished the roof. Lightly, polish, and then I dried it off with a piece of a shop towel, okay? Then I went up to 8000 grit. Pardon the mess on my table here, folks, I'm sorry about that. 8000 grit polishing paper, and I polished that with water. First you dip it in water, and then I polished. Dried it off again. Then I went up to the highest that I have, which is 12,000 grit sandpaper. It's the finest that I own. I got this polishing kit. It comes with from 3200 grit all the way up to 12,000. It's got about 5-6 polishing cloths in there, something like that. Got it from my local hobby shop. These have lasted me many years. I have had these for a long, long time. But anyway, once I got up to the 12,000 grit polishing cloth, look at that roof. Okay, this is just water. This is not scratches. Okay. Trust me, guys and girls, this was a disaster on the roof. It was horrible. It looked like it was bubbling, or it looked like maybe a piece of I don't know. Some of this roof looked like maybe 800 grit sandpaper. It was rough, bumpy, horrible. So I have a lot more work to do on this car, but I'm just sharing that fixing the paint rash on your very, very expensive 24 scale diecast vehicles can be done. And again, thank you to Tom. I really appreciate him giving me that information, because I didn't want to try it if I would have burned through, because let me just clarify, guys. I have burned through on some of my plastic models and 64 scale diecast. When I've done a paint job, I have burned through on edges. So you got to be very careful of the edges, but as you can see, this doesn't really have an edge, so I just kind of polished on the top. I did polish here on the side too, because you can see there's kind of a, I guess this is an imperfection or something. I may try to touch that up and polish that out too. I'm not too concerned about that. But this roof is, believe me, this roof looks brand new compared to what it was. And I am very, very, very happy with the result. So I'm going to continue doing some work on this car. Let me see if I can, okay, it gets blurred when I zoom in here. But it's kind of hard to show a before and after, but as I said before, you can kind of see some of the paint rash. And most of you fellow collectors like me know what paint rash is. But don't be afraid to try to fix it with the polishing cloths. You can get these probably online or from your local hobby shop. Shout out to Smith Brothers Hobby Shop here in Northridge, California. My friend Jason Amanian and David Wooten. That's where I bought these. Been going there since I was a kid. So I hope you enjoyed this video, folks. I just kind of experimented. And I thought, you know what? If I mess this up, I can always turn it into a junker or sell it to somebody that may take this thing apart and repaint it. But I love this car. It's very, very hard to get this at a very good price. So if you have any questions, comments, info, let me know, guys. Have a very happy, safe, and healthy 4th of July.